Well, thank you for the great words. I'm not sure whether it describes me adequately. I think this question all of us need to ask ourselves, who are we? How do I define myself as executive director, chief operating officer? First thing is I think I'm a human being who can give more than he can accept. Second, I believe in the power of 1 plus 1 is 11 and believe that impossible and stupid are two very important words in our lives. Because the first one is something that you should never believe in, and the second one, just remain stupid and keep the kid in you alive. अगर आपके अंदर बच्चा चला गया ना, खत्म हो गया फिर. Keep the kid alive. That's why I love the backbenchers. Love you there. Professor Sena, Professor Chibba, chairpersons, Professor Nagesh Rao in his absence, members of the faculty, and dear students. I'm really honored to join you here on this formal occasion of an inauguration of the latest batch of MICA's 3 academic programs, as we have heard today. 3. PGP, CCC, and FPM. Well, Ahmedabad, to me, I'm delighted to be here because for me, it's a city where I come back again and again. Thakta nahi hu main yahan wapas aana, because for me, it is back to my college days, and I think it's just changed. The city has metamorphosed. It is kind of completely, increased in size, but its character has remained very much what it has always been. Entrepreneurial, friendly, and questioning the word impossible. And that's where I pick up my first thread as I walked into the institute from being a graduate from economics honors from Delhi Univ, Hindu College. I love the city because I think I've learned my basics of life. And my first step into the corporate world happened from here. MICA, I mean, in less than 24 years, a fabulous institute, fantastic. I mean, I'm just really touched to be here. See that there is I also see the commonality between the Ahmedabad IMA and the construction here. I really believe that it is the open way you have created the institute reflects the kind of teaching you do here and the kind of students you bring here. And I have no doubts that you will all grow up and become, if I may say, successful in the way you define success in your own lives. Professor Chibba wrote to me that he would like to he'd like me to share with you some of the things from my insights into the real world. If I get started, I don't think I will stop. And then he said, 20 minutes, we know you speak a lot. Like you've heard, I've been in Hindustan Lever for 24 years. Hindustan Lever is an institution where you learn, and whatever I am is because of 3 things that have influenced me in my life. First is my parents, without any doubt. I am what I am because of my parents and my mother more than my father. 2, the guru. I had a guru at the age of 21 from this state. Still he is there, I'm sure we connect again and again. He's no longer in the world. But I was lucky to have a guru at the age of 21. And the third, of course, is Hindustan Lever. Because I think it is an institution which teaches you to take responsibility early in life and walk the talk. Chew the gum and fart, as they call it, at the same time. You do both. You got to learn to take responsibility, not just ask for it. It's an institution of learning, an institution that allows you freedom, gives you the responsibility, and expects you to deliver. What more do you want? So what will I have to share with you? I've been here with the Times, and I was being asked in the morning whether why the hell did I shift? if I loved HUL so much. And believe you me, I love Times as much, if not more, because the width of experience that you get in this group is just unbelievable. And I think the most important thing, you can influence and shape the world for the future. And you must use that sensibly. That ability you must use sensibly with your readers, with your consumers. And I think that's something that I will talk to you a little later. I have a few thoughts to share with you, and I'll start with the first one. Many often than not, we all believe that, you must have heard this, and if you haven't, you'll hear this again and again, that you've got to be consumer-centric. Everything in your life has to be consumer-centric. Your relationships with your parents, your fiancé, with your wife, with your kids, with your work environment, with your friends. It is all about being customer-centric. When you handle a brand, or you handle a business, or you handle a small factory, it is all about being consumer-centric. Now, consumer centricity does not mean that हम लोग क्या करते हैं, when we handle a brand, we believe that the consumer has no other job. They're just living to buy our brand. Sorry. They're there to live their life. They will buy your brand if it makes a difference to their life. So when you're in trouble, ask the question in your native language. If my grandmother asked me what am I doing, क्या काम कर रहा हूँ मैं, बेटा तू कर क्या रहा है? How will I tell her? What will I explain to her? Believe you me, English is a very good language, but can be interpreted in various ways by various people. And therefore it's good to ask in your native language and go and talk to your grandmother or whoever you think is not literate in business. And there are quite a few around. And you'll understand, you'll get a sense of what you are doing. Are you being consumer-centric? And I think the most important thing of consumer centricity is having a larger purpose of life. Various times you think, what am I handling? What am I doing? Am I doing this business or that business? Am I handling this brand or that brand? I'll give you examples. We were struggling with Lifebuoy because Lifebuoy was kind of nosediving. I'm talking of 1992, 91, 92. We didn't know what to do. And all we knew was Lifebuoy stood for germ kill. One word. When you say Lifebuoy, what comes to mind? Germ kill. When you say Lux, what comes to mind? Film stars. So you got to have, when you say Little, what comes to mind? Lime. Girl under a waterfall. Great. It's at least one single strong association. Great. But germ kill can take you only that far. I mean, you can't have people coming to to work in the morning for germ kill. So we redefined our businesses, and from then on started a journey where we said we must understand the larger purpose for which we work. What is the larger purpose for what you work? Which department, which brand, which function? Ask that question. So Lifebuoy we redefined as saying saving lives. We are in the business of saving lives. Suddenly all of us felt very different and charged to work on a brand that could make the difference of saving lives. So you redefine your purpose. Is Times of India a newspaper? Is Economic Times a newspaper? Newspaper? Maybe that's how people see it. But our job is to shape, because we go to the top 5% of India and all 100% of decision makers. So we believe our larger purpose in life is to shape the future through our readers, through our consumers. We want to shape the world of the future the way the consumer wants to see it. Be it television, be it publications, be it whatever. We must be clear that we are not newspapers. That's very internally focused. Look at it from a consumer's lens. And what you should do is always, people say, in the morning Anubhav was telling me, digital, we've started a course on digital because digital we believe is going to be very relevant tomorrow. Of course it will be. That's a real innovation. The reason why digital has done well is because it's a real innovation. It has transformed lives. The reason why we have mobile phones all with us is because it has transformed our lives. It's a real innovation, made a difference to our life, really made a difference to our life. Not just our life, made a difference to the society in which we live. Both are important. make a difference to the life of the consumer, but make a difference to the life of the society in which he or she lives. Pardon me if I keep saying she, because I'm quite ingrained as a leverite to talk of the consumer as a she. And we force it down because we believe the she part of the world, I have a she too in me, is the softer part of what we have. It's very important to have those skills, and I'll talk about that later. I think I'll just pause here for a moment and show you one ad if I can, which is here. Will you just help me? This is an ad for Times of India. It's called Lead India. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but just see it. You'll get a sense of what the purpose of this brand is.
इससे टैक्स भरते हैं क्या? सुबह से ऐसे क्या? नहीं होगा यार।
सर आपके लिए उस पार कार का इंतजाम किया है सर। चलाइए सर। चल चल।
चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले। हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। हाथ के सूरज सुबह निकाला करे, हथेलियों में भरे धूप और उछाला करे। उफक में पाँव रखो और चलो बढ़के चलो, उफक में पाँव रखो और चलो बढ़के चलो, फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो, फलक पकड़ के उठो और हवा पकड़ के चलो। चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, चलो तो हिंदुस्तान चले, हिंदुस्तान चले।
Believe that there is a way to start things, and that God is in each one of you. Allow that God the leeway to come out. Don't उसको दबा के मत रखो. आने दो. गुस्सा है तो आने दो. रंजिश है तो आने दो. प्यार है तो आने दो. But let it come out. Because that is the power of purity. And once you get that in, you will find a lot of people come in. Because then it's the power of we. Individually, you can do nothing. Nothing. If you think you are the, with all due respect to Professor Einstein, it helps, but during an age in life, it doesn't help in today's world. It's a connected world. We make the difference, not I. But I must allow my passion to come out. It must show. It must live. It must be nurtured. So, to summarize, the first point is consumer centricity, and make sure that you are absolutely looking at the larger purpose of what you're doing. Be very clear and redefine your business if you have to. Second, there is, in this country, we really, who do you think we really celebrate? Winners, right? Correct? Success, right? Ideas. Who gave that idea here? Who launched? Who cares? Yeah? Who made it big? We don't focus on execution. We give a lot of energy on ideas And we celebrate new ideas, we celebrate success. We do not celebrate failures. And then we say, अच्छा वो फिर वही गलती कर रहा है. अबे वो तो करेगा ही ना, अगर तुम बताओगे नहीं किसी को. So I used to do something I've always done with my teams. We start the meeting with the failure of last month. What is the failure of last month? अगर failure नहीं है, then there is some problem. 3 महीने से failure ही नहीं है. So there's a problem because you're not stretching then. Right? And you must encourage failure. Not the same failure again, but encourage people to take risks and focus on execution. A great idea can be made into a disaster if there's poor execution. And an average idea or a less than average idea can be made a great idea with execution. Right? We know from some of our recent times of what execution can do even in politics. But that is the whole point. It is about great execution every day. That's what it is. And we don't celebrate execution. We don't celebrate failure. बस गलती हो गई बस. क्या गलती हुआ? बहुत ये ऐसे हो गया. तो आप किसी को मत बताना बस. क्यों भाई? Let's celebrate. No, let's celebrate. If you make it positive, not making him stand out like a. But not many people have the guts to celebrate that. I suggest, as youngsters, as you go into real life, celebrate execution and celebrate failures. And I have a very simple philosophy, which is that you should know there's something called an 842 principle. 52 हफ्ते होते हैं ना साल में. There are 52 weeks, right? 8 weeks, think, strategize. Right? Discretely or continuously, your call. But 42 weeks, just execute. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you don't ask questions while you're executing, but not the strategic questions. Execute on the execution idea. 842 principle has stood me in great stead in my life. And many a times I keep asking my colleagues, are you in the 8 phase or are you in the 42 phase? And it's a well-known factor now with whichever team I've worked. So I think it helps. The 842 rule helps. Look at some of the brands that who are successful. These are brands that are consistent and have made a real difference to people. We talked about real difference, right? Consistency. Let's look at consistency of brands. I mean, Red Bull. Consistent. I mean, I keep teasing the managing director of Red Bull, who's a dear friend, saying, वो कंचे वाले आइसक्रीम सोडा बेचता है. बुच करके वो हमारे टाइम में 1 रुपए का आता था. अब शायद पुरानी अहमदाबाद में अभी भी 5-7 रुपए का आ जाएगा. But I think it is. But look at the brand. Look what they've done. Consistency of execution. Look at Pepsi, Coke. What's there in it? But it's about execution, consistency. And it's about new generation, music and sports. That's all Pepsi does. Right? Whether you see it on the football ground or you see it on the television or you see it while you're drinking, it is consistent. It's not saying something else somewhere else, something else somewhere else. But these are different notions which come out. So on the shelf, it will be talking to you slightly differently, but the same message. On the print, it will be talking to you slightly differently, but same message. The consistency is critical. So 2 things here: consistency in strategy and brilliance in execution and celebrating failures. This is another area that I want you to take back as you move into real world. The last thing that I want to share with you from my own life is the criticality of innovation and taking risk. You hear this all the time, like no risk, no return. क्या मतलब ये तो कब से सुन रहे हैं? Innovation is a buzzword. But innovation earlier was thought to be in marketing. Of course, who says no? But even supply chain guys can innovate. Even technical guys can innovate. Even finance guys can innovate. And by the way, my best innovations in my entire life of 27 years of working in this industry has all come not from marketing guys, from other than marketing guys. You have to be open to learning. When you're talking to an auto guy or you're talking to a bus wala or you're talking to a ferry wala, Are you open to learning, or are you saying, isko kya pata hai yaar? Because that's where you miss the bus, right? Innovation has got many parts to it. It's about risk-taking. It's about asking the impossible questions. So, I must share a story with you. In Hindustan Lever, when I said, we will, I told you about the story. Mr. Dadisai told me, look at ponds, you have to go and, you're going to fight Lakme, and you've got to create the ambience for getting Lakme down on the knees. So we didn't have lotions. So we had to launch lotions. So we launched body lotions. And I said, look, he said, the whole discussion then turned around with my team saying, can we do it in 8 weeks? अगर आप किसी को बोलो ना कि 8 हफ्ते from scratch to finish in the market, you can launch in Hindustan Lever, that too, right? Which is like, so I was told, boss, यहाँ ऐसे काम नहीं होता है. इस कंपनी में, you will hear this time, you'll hear this word every time. इस कंपनी में यहाँ पे और यहाँ पे ये ऐसा नहीं होता बस. In this company, तो मैंने कहा साला कंपनी किधर है, मिलवा दो यार उसको यार. Who's the company है? Then he says, सर ये मैंने कंपनी आप हैं और मैं हूँ. अगर हमने 8 हफ्ते में करना है तो हम 8 हफ्ते में करेंगे. So in 8 weeks, we launched Vaseline and Pond's body lotions, which are today perhaps the biggest lotions in the market and the most successful lotions in the market even today. And how did we test them? I gave it over the weekend, products to my colleagues in different parts of the company and said, just use it and just let me know the truth and just put your thumbs up or thumbs down. Don't have to tell me what happened. And the rest was history. It was all thumbs up, and we launched in 8 weeks, and the rest is history. So ask the impossible question. Can it be done in 8 weeks? Can we half the cost? Can we decrease the cost by 10%? हो सकता है ना? So when I came in here, I said, it's a very innovative company. Times is an unbelievably innovative company. They survive because of innovation. And they innovate on products, and they do innovate on model. So we are one of the largest private equity players in this country. We do $350 million almost every year of investment through ad for equity models. And there are some 10 ad for equity models. It's an unbelievably innovative model which is going bananas. In fact, the whole world is now asking, and we're saying, can we start a consulting service tomorrow? And maybe have equity in many other companies outside the country. We're starting that shortly. Watch the space. But there is innovation in product as well. So we came and said, acha, paper is flat. So we said, can we make the paper dance? So we said, there are five senses that we have, right? Can we cater to all 5 senses through the paper? Smell, taste. And today, I can tell you, you tell me what you want with the paper. We can make the paper. You've seen Alive, right? You can become a video. You can do a video game from Alive. You can do a commerce from Alive. You can do what you want. So who says that a paper is only a flat medium? It can be a digital medium as well. It is in your mind. You to say how to make this paper dance, sing, talk, smell, jump, vibrate. It's your limitation, not the medium's limitation. And then who innovated? I asked the production guy, saying, you used to have a joke, saying these very expensive machines that you from Germany, I used to call them elephant from Germany. And they used to eat not Indian bananas, but bananas from Honolulu, because they have all newsprint is from abroad. So I said, you have to have these German elephants do the Indian dance to Chikni Chameli, eating Indian bananas and dancing to that Indian tune of Chikni Chameli. Can you do it? Who knows how to do it? It can't be the marketing guy for sure. It can't be the brand manager of Pepsodent telling us how to innovate in paper, right? You innovate. You tell us what this machine can do, and wow, the rest is history. Last year, almost 35% of our delta turnover came from innovations. And this year it should be 50%. So you can innovate if you ask the impossible questions and use what I call, allow people whom you don't, the corners that you don't think will ever innovate to innovate. Innovation marketing करेगी, अरे क्यों ठेका ले रखा है? सब लोग कर सकते हैं. Somewhere it is obvious, somewhere it is not so obvious. You give the latitude to people to innovate, and you watch how they come up. I want to share with you a story of Wim Bar. It's called the power of observation. That's the other thing, that ask the impossible question and observe. So we went for a Wim Bar. After the Wim Bar launch, it was a fantastic product. Everybody was saying, great product, great this, that, and the other. So we went out saying, when you launch a product, it's extremely successful, no? Be careful. It may just boomerang. When everybody else is rejoicing and giving you awards, that's the time you know you're going to have a problem, yeah. So think about it when you're at the top. Don't think about it when you come down. Unfortunately, when we're going up, you all think, it's all going to be hunky-dory, right? We all forget that you're going to come down someday. It is the people who keep thinking when they're going up, who manage, that they don't have to go down ever. And that's most important. So, and power of observation is crucial. So we went to these consumers' homes, and always go to consumers' homes. Always. Meet them in their environment. Don't call them to your office. Go to their environment. Meet them in their office. And we've institutionalized even in Times. The editorial goes to the consumers, and वहाँ जो थप्पड़ पड़ती है और कहीं से नहीं पड़ती. Then you realize, right, how to change, right? मैं बोल देता तो क्या होता? कुछ नहीं मिलता. बहुत तो कंज्यूमर बोल रहे हैं. मैंने कहा अच्छा यार, ये तो वेरी गुड यार, अब तो चेंज करो, कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. And it is, so you learn from consumers all the time. So we went for Wim Bar relaunch, and after the relaunch they were saying very good stuff, and nothing sir, कुछ नहीं है चेंज करने में, बहुत अच्छा fragrance है, great cleaning, ये वो क्या है, इस Wim Bar में क्या change करेंगे? And every consumer of home, one after the other. And there was a management trainee, a girl with me. She said, boss, I said, what happened? She said, boss, notice karo na. I said, kya hua? And she was from HR. She says, every time she says this at the end, na, वो plate पानी से, वो जहाँ पे Wim Bar रखा है, वो plate, she just tilts it and lets the water go. So I said, so? She said, देखो दूसरे घर में भी होगा, तीसरे घर में. And we saw it for 4 houses, everything very good, very good, very good. But so she said, doesn't it ring a bell? I said, what does it ring? She said, maybe there is some problem of वो गलता है. So I said, wow. Here was an HR girl, and who's a very dear friend of mine even today, who picked this up sharp. And then we put a plastic coating under Wim Bar on all 4 sides. And again, the rest of history, right? Wim Bar took off like it has never taken off before. Minor plastic at the bottom because of observation power of that girl. And मैं थकता नहीं हूँ telling about this story to thousands of people because I think she's just marvelous. And she's a more marketing person than I am, I think. So I think 2 things: ask the impossible questions, let people innovate around you, allow innovations around you, ask for innovations around you, you immerse in the consumer. But I think most importantly, power of observation is crucial in life. So these are the 3 things that I wanted to tell you guys. I have 2 messages for the faculty and to you as well. And I was talking to her in the morning today in the car, and she said, you could mention this. I actually worry about some of you and the education system. And by the way, I will do something about it and not keep worrying. I observe my own daughters and their friends and so many of the consumers and I believe intelligence. You all are so intelligent, it's not funny. There's a generation gap in intelligence in every 2.5 years now. Between my older one and my younger one, there's a gap, yeah. And every generation is faster than the other generation. But it's scary. Intelligence is not an issue. Whether you study here or study there, it doesn't make a diff. Or what makes the diff is how many of you are emotionally balanced. How many of you love yourself? If I had a 6-pack of Mr. Name the man, yeah. Ladies, name the man. Sorry? Sorry, who? Name the man. Who? Salman Khan, okay. So that's that. There you are. So 6 packs of Salman Khan, and if I had the voice of Bachchan, let's assume Mr. Bachchan, I would have been myself. I would have been a strange bloody character. Yeah. I've got to love myself for who I am. जो भगवान आपके अंदर है, उसके साथ खुश रहें. Because if you are emotionally balanced, you are happy with yourself. Not saying if if you don't be fit, but please be happy with what you have, not what you don't have. And therefore, I worry about, and given these phones, यही चल रहा है बस. वो हमारे टाइम में होता था 28 रायगरपुड़ा, दिल्ली से जो है जानते हैं, मिल ही तो लें. सब विकी एक्सपोर्ट मॉडल और मिल ही तो लें. So what I'm saying is, what is the harm? Don't lose touch with your emotional side. There is nothing wrong in wearing sleeves. Don't be a different person at home and a different person outside. You will burn out in no time. People ask me, how the hell do you don't burn out? How do you have this energy right through the day? I say, pata nahi, main to daru nahi pita. Right? But I think I do 2 things. One, I do yoga and meditation for sure twice a day. And the second thing I do is that I don't behave like somebody else. I am myself here. I'm very happy. Be happy with what you have. Because when you're happy with yourself, then your societal quotient will go up. How will you care for others? The more you give, the more you get. याद रखना, अकेले आए हो अकेले जाओगे, ना कुछ लेके आए थे ना लेके जाओगे, नंगे आए थे नंगे जाओगे. But what you leave behind is the goodness of life. That's the definition of who you are, not the chief operating officer. When you leave an organization, you know how much you are loved. I know how much I am loved in Hindustan Lever. Nobody else can take that from me. Whether it is the Darwan on the gate, or the drivers, or it's my team, or it's the board, or it's the chairman. You've got to be yourself. Don't be uncomfortable with, let me try and behave like him. You're talking about it in the morning, and that takes me to the point to the faculty. You have these kids with you for 2 years, maybe 3, maybe 4. Still, we don't know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. There's something wrong with our education. How do we give that edge to that person who has an edgy self to something else? Maybe he's weak. If there's an average, and you define what that average is as MICA. Bring everybody to an average on certain skills. But on things that they have an edge on, build on those edges. Let them go and fly on those edges. Don't let them fly on an average. You can put the leg inside the freezer and your head inside the heater and say my body temperature in average is normal. दोनों तरफ से मर गया आदमी. Don't let that happen. And I urge the faculty to think of how you can actually teach kids EQ and SQ skills. I'm very happy to help personally because I do it for quite a few colleges now. And this is one of my passion areas in the future. The second is, in your lifetime, मैं तो बच गया बॉस, बच गया 10-12-15 साल हैं. लेकिन आप लोगों को अगर कॉर्पोरेट सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के मायने नहीं समझ आए ना, यू आर इन डीप ट्रबल. देख रहे हो ना बारिश की हालत. Let's start with this institute. Can it be water positive? Can we collect more water this year than we consume? Let's start. Can we water harvest? Can we rain harvest? You have to understand what is the larger purpose of your brand and link it to the social responsibility that you have towards the society. And marketeers of the future, successful businessmen of the future, don't see these as 2 boxes hanging outside the business. They see it as inside the business. And I think Unilever is one big pioneer in this, and I believe very strongly, because not because I was in a team that defined this for Unilever. So we went water positive first, and we said, बहुत अच्छा काम, 3-4 साल में water positive हो गए, every factory. Wow, what next? We then studied the value chain, and we realized that the 70% of water consumption happens with products, chai, sabun, नहा रहे हैं, कपड़े धो रहे हैं, water is getting wasted. So Unilever has moved to innovating on products now which uses less water. Wow. Therefore, consumers have to be educated again, saying, oh, jhag is not good. You think jhag is good, but you don't need jhag for efficiency of cleaning. Jhag wastes more water. Efficiency comes from something else. You have to re-educate consumers. Wow. Journey all over again. Fantastic. What an opportunity. So where I'm coming to is, ask yourself in your business. We are in the business of education. That's why we do Lead India, Teach India. In 2 cities, out of 25,000 people that we have educated, young people who don't know how to communicate, अंग्रेजी नहीं आती बोलनी, present करनी नहीं आती, out of them, some 19,000 have got jobs. That to me is satisfaction. Forget the fact that our job is corporate social responsibility, shaping the world. So our whole job is like that, right? But for the brand or the company or function that you work for, ask what is your larger purpose and how is your corporate social responsibility linked to it. Takes me to the faculty. So how are we going to teach them this? How? In every course, it must be a part of it. How? Let's think hard. So both on these issues, on IQ, EQ, SQs, emotional quotients and social quotients, and on corporate social responsibility, I think the faculty has a job to do as well, as much as students, to understand that the future we have to create kids who understand this better than all of us. I would like to end by saying, I have 2 endings, so I'll say both. I want to first show you a video. It's a nice video because it sums up my philosophy in what I believe is life. Have a look at the video, and then I'll end my speech with a few more lines. This is called Interview with God. I get tears in my eyes whenever I see this. Friends, life is all about life skills. You're not a being, you're a human being. And that what differentiates you from a being and a human being is what you need to ask yourself first. And once you get that answer, go into the corporate world with smiles and bring the God alive in you. I would like to end by saying a story which I've always shared with young people and the teams that I work in. Life is like a train journey. It's a train journey, yeah? You have the option or the choice to sit alone, read a book, eat your own food, or make a difference to 7 other lives around you, or 71 other lives in the compartment, or 719 lives in that train. It's a choice that you make. Don't put the blame on external issues. It's a choice you make. But there will come a time when you step off a train, and I stepped off the Hindustan Lever train. I got onto a new train called the Times of India. The only way you know when you step off the train that people are happy is that when they say, I wish we meet again, with smiley faces, with faces that say, I wish we could be together again. Who knows where in this life or next. But remember, dots. You are in a dot today in MICA. Tomorrow when you start working, you are another dot. 7-10 years from now, when you are married, you have another dot. When you have your family, you're another dot. You're working in 3 companies, you've got different dots. Enjoy that moment of that dot. But remember, life skills and life experiences are all connecting the dot. Don't forget connecting the dots. We live in the dots. We forget connecting the dots. It's about connecting the dots. It's not about just living and enjoying that dot. So friends, before I sign off, it's one life. Make the most of it. The more you give, the more you get. The more trust you give, the more you get. The more love you give, the more love you get. And I'm sure you will fly and do very well in your lives. God bless you and have a great time here. Thank you.